For the first time since 1988 to 1991, Michigan has a 4-game winning streak against Ohio State. For the first time since 1993, Michigan wins over Ohio State as an unranked team. And for the first time since 1966, Michigan does that in Columbus. 13-10, Wolverines over the Buckeyes. It is a shell-shocked horseshoe here in Columbus after Michigan's stunner over the previously number 2 Buckeyes. Brian Bush with you. So much to get to here on the SeatGeek postgame show. We'll hear from head coach Sharon Moore, thoughts from the locker room, analysis from Jack Miller, John Jansen, in moments, Doug Karsch. We'll have highlights, stats, out-of-town scoreboard. So much to get to. We start with Doug Karsch. Doug, the missed field goal from Jaden Fielding happened around 2:34 Eastern time today. And Ohio State took 7 plays the rest of the game from an offensive perspective. And that was in the final about 17 game minutes. 4 came in a failed 4th and out drive to end it. This was exactly how you needed to draw it up. And Michigan certainly didn't execute perfectly, but systematically grinding it out, and for a 4th straight year, out-physicaling Ohio State.
Well, look, I think Ohio State now can say without any doubt that they have a Michigan problem. And, you know, I was willing to give their staff and people the benefit of the doubt and say they just lost to the better team the last 3 years. This year they came in at 10-1. The playoff right there in front of them, a chance to go to the Big Ten title game, a chance to get a first-round bye. Now their playoff spot's in jeopardy. They've lost to a Michigan team that was shorthanded today without their best receiver in Colston Loveland. They lose Buckeye killer Donovan Edwards in the second quarter, and they couldn't do anything against the Michigan defense. The Michigan defense dominated this game. Wink Martindale had his best day here as a coach. The fourth quarter offense, Michigan had 101 yards to Ohio State's 10. You mentioned all the real time it took between plays for Ohio State because Michigan's offense possessed the football, moved the chains. They went 2 quarters without a first down, got to the fourth quarter, and started churning out first downs, bleeding the clock, and they did exactly what everyone said they had to do. Shorten the game, play great defense, and invite Ohio State to start to pucker up. And with 2 missed field goals by the Buckeyes, with a terrible too many men on the field penalty on a 3rd and 3 on Michigan's last possession, to a player's helmet coming off, costing him 10 seconds of runoff, a cacophony of mistakes costs Ohio State late, and Michigan pulls off an absolute stunner. And I mean, I was down in the stadium in 96 when John Jansen and the boys were able to pull that 13-9 upset off. That was pretty stunning. This one feels more so. Ohio State, Ryan Day 4 years ago said he was going to hang 100 on Michigan. He's 0-4 since he made those comments on a Big Ten conference call. And Michigan, right now, all you can say is they have Ohio State's number. And this senior class, to go out undefeated, guys like Kalel and Donovan Edwards, and guys like Davis Warren and Makari Page, you couldn't be happier for them. And I'm looking forward to getting down below into that Michigan locker room because it is going to be a extraordinarily happy. Wolverines are still on the field. There's still players trickling over towards the Michigan locker room.
Yeah, Kalel Mullings is limping as he is currently in that end zone that he almost got to on that final offensive drive. Mullings, 32 carries, 8 more than his previous career high, and he had 1 run of more than 8 yards, and it was that 27-yard run that looked dead to rights down the stretch. This was 3.6 yards a carry and a cloud of dust in a place that never got louder than they were on the first 3 plays of this game. Remember, Jordan Marshall, some issues with the sun on the opening kickoff, Michigan bad field position. Davis Warren completed a 3rd down and 5 to Tyler Morris. And this place never got louder than that. Again, talking about puckering up, and the style of play that Michigan had certainly was a part of it.
I am absolutely stunned at this turn of events. And, you know, maybe we shouldn't be. Maybe we shouldn't be. Maybe we should have saw this coming. When news came out this morning that Colston wasn't going to play, I think probably, I'll speak for a lot of Michigan fans. I think a lot of people said they probably don't have a chance today. And they found a way to pull it off. And Davis Warren doing just enough, finished 9 of 16 for 62 yards. Khalil Mullings, 32 carries, 116 yards. But it's about the defense. It's about not letting Ohio State's offense participate in this game. And that and the special teams, even you pointed out the 31 yards gained on the exchange of punts, a 68-yard punt and a 37 yards gained on an exchange of punts. That was huge. And it set up Michigan. Dominic Zavada, good from 54. They missed 2 field goals. They turn it over twice. This was the formula, and it played out to perfection. Congratulations to this coaching staff and this team.
And we said from the start of the year, Michigan's defense had to be this team's best unit for the Wolverines to hit some of the goals that they wanted to this year. And, hey, the Big Ten and national championship goals didn't happen, but, hey, they won all their rivalry games, they won all their trophy games, and they won the biggest rivalry at the end with the defense posting its best performance at the end.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely look, I talk to Wink Martindale every week, and I think his level of comfort with this team, he made a comment this week, why is the defense turned it around? It really started in the second half against Oregon, carried over to Indiana, Northwestern, and now this performance today was, hanging in the Louvre good. And he said it's experience, more reps for these guys, and communication. He said the communication has been outstanding. And I talk to the team. I say this every week. I walk into that building, and oh boy, it's a tough matchup on Saturday. By the time I walk out of there for the last time near the end of the week, I'm always convinced Michigan's going to win because they're always convinced they're going to win. And this week, some of the players talked about it. They talked about how they have a high level of comfort for this rivalry. And before the game, they were talking about, let's just go let it rip. We got nothing to lose. Sharon Moore was all smiles. The players were like, yeah, we love this. Make it colder. Make it louder. Make it more hostile.
Can you add some snow in, please?
And on their sideline, Ryan Day was talking about you have to use your mind, body, and soul to win this game. He's quoting Navy SEALs. He's mentioning it was along the lines the last 3 years with the darkest periods of his life. And you feel a little bit bad for the guy, but the bottom line is, they got a Michigan problem. And nobody in the state of Michigan is going to feel bad about it.
No doubt. A heck of a moment. Again, this season will not end like last year's, but it's a different feeling of satisfaction, of a legacy that this team will lead, not as the leaders and best in college football like last year's, but to keep this rivalry streak going when it immediately has followed a 1-15 stretch. This type of a win seemed impossible 4 or 5 years ago. And now, quite frankly, around here, it'll feel impossible for Ohio State to beat Michigan until it happens.
I think this kind of win felt impossible 4 or 5 hours ago for Michigan based upon who was going to suit up and who wasn't going to be there. But they did it again. They did it again. And now Michigan takes a ton of momentum into the offseason. We've heard about some returns potentially in roster management moving forward. And Sharon Moore, he's got a lot to sell now. And he just took a undermanned team into Columbus and beat them.
Man, heck of a win. Heck of a day here in Columbus. Great stuff as always. And Doug, we'll talk to you for the bowl game.
Sounds great.
And we preview the upcoming schedule brought to you by Meyer. We will learn next weekend what bowl game Michigan will play in. Not sure what it is yet. And it'll be difficult, I would say impossible, to top this, but most certainly there will be some positive momentum heading in to whatever bowl game that is. Our preview of the upcoming schedule brought to you by Meyer, presenting sponsor of the 2024 Michigan football season and proud supporter of hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. The Horseshoe, empty, quiet, stunned. Michigan's locker room, the opposite. 13-10 Wolverines over the Buckeyes. More on the SeatGeek postgame show as we continue. This is Wolverines football from Learfield. Michigan, a stunning win over Ohio State, knocking off the 10-1 Buckeyes 13-10, and very likely knocking Ohio State out of the Big Ten championship conversation. And who knows where their playoff fates will go. But this is a shocked area here in Central Ohio as Michigan wins for a 4th consecutive time over the Buckeyes. We are back on the SeatGeek post-game show. SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the touchdown celebrations this season. Whether you're buying or selling football tickets, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of the Michigan Wolverines. Expect the expected SeatGeek. Some of the numbers from this one as we await. I'm guessing a pretty happy Sharon Moore in his post-game thoughts here in a bit. The Wolverines gained 234 yards, only 62 through the air. They rushed for 172 on 4.1 yards a carry. We talked about Kalel Mullings. His previous career high was 24 carries. He rumbled 32 times, 116 yards. 31 of those carries were for single-digit yardage. And he had that 127-yard drive on the tail end of Michigan's go-ahead touchdown, or a field goal drive. He also had Michigan's lone touchdown run in this ballgame. Alex Orji with 3 carries for 32 yards. Donovan Edwards, 4 carries, 11 yards, did not play in the second half after suffering an injury. Not sure his situation, but definitely Kalel Mullings picked up where Donovan Edwards left off back in 2022, not with 75 and 85-yard runs, but with steady, paper-cut-like success as Michigan rumbled on the ground. Passing-wise, Davis Warren, 9 of 16, 62 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Certainly not an eye-popping statistical game, but considering all that young man has overcome in his life, and then in football being down around 10th on the depth chart, to now be a starting quarterback for Michigan's first win in Columbus as an unranked team since 1966. That is as improbable as it gets. Receiving-wise, Marlon Klein leads the way with 3 catches. Peyton O'Leary leads the way in yards with 18. For Ohio State, much of their success came through the air. They had 252 total yards, 175 through the air, 77 on the ground. Yet again, Michigan dominating on the ground in this matchup as Will Howard, 19 of 33, 175 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. First time this year he's thrown multiple picks in a game. For Ohio State, rushing the football, Quinshon Judkins, who was a high-profile and, from all accounts, high-priced free agent transfer portal acquisition from Ole Miss, 12 carries, 46 yards, and Travion Henderson, who will finish his career 0-4 against Michigan, 10 carries, 21 yards. No gain greater than 5 yards. Will Howard added 4 carries for 10 yards on the ground. Carnell Tate matched a career high with 6 catches for 58 yards, but Michigan able to limit Jeremiah Smith, the star freshman, to a 5-catch, 35-yard appearance, 1 touchdown for the star true freshman, but he is not able to get the job done. Emeka Egbuka, someone who came back to try to beat Michigan, 4 catches for 51 yards, as he also didn't get a whole lot going. Certainly Michigan, Ohio State had thrown for 338 yards a game in the last 3 games, just 175 in this one, and Michigan allowed the final 2 drives to really stretch things out. 9-minute, 10-second drive, then a 5.5-minute drive to finish things off. Ohio State's final 3 drives, 11 plays, 10 yards, a field goal missed, a 3-and-out punt, and then the turnover on downs with 23 seconds left as Michigan wins it 13-10, improves to 7-5 on the year, gets their 4th straight win over Ohio State, and sends this Ohio State team to a very, very perplexing next little while. Let's throw it down to the locker room. John Jansen's with the victorious head coach, Sharon Moore.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. And it is an unbelievable locker room right now. The UMCU postgame coaches interview is brought to you by the University of Michigan Credit Union. And Coach, how great is it to be a Michigan Wolverine today?
It's outstanding. This is why you come to Michigan. This is the game you come to Michigan for. It's all over the building. We do everything we do for this game, and our players just played so hard, so physical, and I'm so proud of them.
There's so many guys I want to talk about, but let's start with Kalel Mullings. Up until this point, 24 carries is the most he's ever had. Today, 32, but none bigger than that 27-yard run to pick up a first down.
I mean, he's just, that's what he's been, steady Eddie all year, but all of a sudden he can break, and it takes more than one guy to bring him down, and 32 carries, 116 yards, and we rode him, and it was a great game by him.
I wanted to get to him quick, but what was the message to the team when you came into the locker room? Because as you can hear it right now, it's a party.
Well, I didn't get to say much because I got picked up and water thrown on me. So, but it was just how proud I am of the fight. Proud of the fight I am and what this team is like. I mean, to be where we are from a record standpoint, and these kids came in with 100% mindset of prep to go win this game. I'm so proud of them.
Defensively, you couldn't ask for a better performance. What did you see from the defense?
I thought it was probably our best defensive game all year. Jeremiah Smith's one of the best players in the country, period. And he had a touchdown, but really the explosive pass game was very limited. I thought our guys tackled well. They played physical up front, and it's exactly what you want from your defense.
2 interceptions. Talk about Amir Hall's interception, how important it was at that time to set you guys up on the 2-yard line for your touchdown.
It was huge. We just got down there and got stopped. I felt like we wanted to be aggressive and go for it. And kept them down there, and they ended up throwing a pick, and we ended up scoring, so it was huge for us.
But let's talk about, you guys had a lot of opportunities. They missed some field goals. Davis Warren, what was the plan on 4th down? Why go for it at that time? What are you thinking about when you decide to go for it early in the game?
Yeah, just the aggressive mindset that we're going to have. We go by our analytics and things we do, but definitely the mindset of we want to be aggressive and go try to score.
And then in the second half, that 4th quarter, what was the message to the team? We heard what it was at halftime, but you got a chance to reset it going into the 4th quarter. What did you tell the team about the opportunity they had?
Well, I brought them all up, and we just said, hey, listen to the crowd. And it was quiet. We talked about their boos being our cheers and investing in the time and taking care of each other. And we said, this is Ann Arbor right now. This is our house. So we want to take it to them, and those guys finish it off.
I'm sure this is probably like picking between your kids, but what's sweeter, win it at home or win it down here?
Man, I don't know. They're all great. They're all great. I'll take them all. This one's fun. Love playing in front of our fans, but this one's fun as well.
Coach, thanks a lot. Thanks for everything you've done all season long.
Thank you. Go Blue!
We'll be back in just a moment. Today's post-game coaches interview was brought to you by the University of Michigan Credit Union. Gear up with your Block M or Winged Helmet debit card today, exclusively at umcu.org. I'm going to throw it back up to Brian Bush and let him decide if we're going to break or if we're going to keep the party going. Brian, how's it going up there?
I kind of wish I was down there with that music bumping, John. Gosh, darn.
It is unbelievable. And in fact, I've never heard, I don't know whose speaker, I don't know whose music, but it is an absolute party down here, as you can imagine it would be.
Love it. All right, we'll pause for a break, get John's analysis. When we come back, Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. This is Wolverines football from Learfield. Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. The Wolverines shock the nation and silence Columbus with a victory, a 4th straight over their rivals from Columbus. Much more to do on the SeatGeek postgame show, but first we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Michigan football from Learfield. Back here in Columbus, thanks to all of our great affiliates who've been around for what has been quite a roller coaster of a year, and the regular season concludes in awesome fashion. John Jansen, back in 1996, you and the Wolverines came here, won 13-9 when very few people expected it. What similarities are you feeling in that victorious locker room other than maybe some slightly different music?
Well, yeah, obviously the playlist has changed, but the feeling is exactly the same. And here's the thing, and we talk so much about how college football has changed. What it comes down to is the emotion. We talked about it in the pregame, the magic of believing. You win 3 in a row. You come down to Columbus. No one in the world thinks that you can get a win here. And now all of a sudden, hey, it's the guys on the sidelines. It's the band in the end zone. It's a few fans sprinkled throughout the stadium. But you only have your teammates to rely on, your coaches to rely on. And the way that this team played, the way that this team fought, the way they took the field, they believed they could win. And I tell you what, I think the biggest thing, I don't even know what the biggest thing is. The thing that comes to mind right now is getting stops in the red zone against Ohio State. That opening drive, they go down, they only come away with 3 points, forcing field goals that they missed. I think the defense was definitely the story today. The way that they were able to limit them on the ground, and we talk about it all the time, the team that wins the rushing battle. 172 yards for Michigan, 77 for Ohio State, and I'm so proud of these guys, the way that they fought today.
You mentioned the red zone. Ohio State 2 of 5 in the red zone and 1 touchdown, 1 field goal. Ohio State misses 2 field goals, but I'll tell you this, when you're coming into this game, I think many people felt like Michigan had to play a perfect game, yet they didn't. They commit 2 interceptions, and that second one could have been backbreaking. Michigan had this long drive. It looked like they were going to punch it in for a touchdown, and then Ohio State gets the ball back in a tied game. The resiliency of this group all game long, but in particular in that sequence, to then come out with a 3-and-out and then have success again offensively, remarkable.
Well, it was. And how about the resiliency of this team, not just throughout the course of this game, but the course of the season? Not everything, in fact, not many things went the way that they felt. And Sharon has talked about it. This program is based on, hey, you've got goals, and it's win the Big Ten, it's go to the college football playoffs. Those were removed a long time ago. Then it's about beating your rivals. They did that against Michigan State at home, and then to be able to come down here to Columbus, and then this game went much the same way. Every time you thought, hey, they're about to do something to put a little bit of distance between them and Ohio State. And, again, things didn't go their way, but they kept fighting every single time. No first downs in the second quarter and the majority of the third quarter until about 1:38 left. And then they go on that beautiful drive that ended in interception. But the thing was that they took time off the clock. It's one of the things that we talked about. They had to have 4, 5, or longer drives in terms of minutes, and they kept that offense off the field. They did what they had to do when they had to do it.
In 2022, Kalel Mullings had just started the transition from linebacker to running back. By far, his most noteworthy play was the jump pass to Luke Schoonmaker here in Columbus in that big win for the Wolverines, their first in Columbus in a long, long time. That 2022 season, John, Kalel Mullings carried the football 14 times. Today, he carries it 32 yards, 32 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. You want to talk about an incredible journey from where he was when he started at Michigan, where he was in this stadium 2 years ago, to now. My goodness, Hollywood couldn't write that script.
No, and you and I have both sat in Schembechler Hall and had conversations with Kalel Mullings. You've been there when I've interviewed him. We've talked to him coming and going from those. And one, he's very generous with his time, his thoughts. He's always very thoughtful. And the journey, in fact, we sat down with him this past week. He was on the Wednesday edition, and he talked about coming to Michigan and, growing up and watching what had gone on for 15, 16 years. And now to be able to put his stamp on. He is leaving never having lost to Ohio State. And he knows what that means. He talked about it. And for him to have a day like he had today, I mean, we talk about how big seniors are, what it means to this program. Kalel Mullings is a great kid. He's been a great football player at Michigan, and his legacy today is going to be one that we're talking about for a long time.
The reality is now, with where this rivalry is, and Michigan had to endure this at times in the previous 16 years, now there will not be a player on Michigan's roster next season who will have ever lost to Ohio State in the game. And conversely, what that means is there will not be an Ohio State player to have beaten Michigan in the game. That's a true rivalry-changing, rivalry-defining era here for Michigan. And to do it in this setting, where a game like this, where everyone was picking against Michigan, it would have felt impossible early in the Jim Harbaugh era for several junctures in time in this 2000s. Now, where Michigan is at, it feels like they're going to find a way. If you can win this game, you can beat them anytime.
Well, you can, and that's what makes rivalries. That's why this is the greatest rivalry in all of sports. And not only will they not have any players, they won't have any players that their coach can go to and ask, what's it like to beat Michigan? I mean, it's just, and Sharon Moore, 2 times as head coach, last year acting, this year he's as the permanent head coach, 2-0 in this rivalry. And you look at the recruiting classes, you look at everything that's going on, and it is a sweet, sweet time to be a Michigan Wolverine.
Sharon Moore, he was wearing 3 different hats, doing 3 different jobs for Michigan in this game last year in Ann Arbor: offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, and the head coach. It was obviously a lot for him. And this has been a first full season as the head coach with some rocky times, some trials and tribulations. But I'll tell you, what he's meant to this rivalry since he arrived in Ann Arbor, it's tough to define and to measure, and he just continues to come up in a massive way as a leader, as a coach, as a man in this spot, a Michigan man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, as these guys are piling out, obviously he's here talking to all these guys and enjoying the moment. I mean, it's, he has worked his way to be where he's at today. He has been here, and there's been some hard questions that we've had to ask throughout the course of this season. He has stood up. He has answered all of them, and now it's time for him to enjoy a sweet moment.
13-10, Michigan over Ohio State. John, enjoy the party down there.
Oh, I definitely will. I'm going to hop in here in a minute. Doug Carson and I are going to join in. And we're no rush to get out of Columbus. We own this town.
There is John Jansen from the victorious visitors locker room here in Columbus on the SeatGeek postgame show. 13-10, the Wolverines win it over the Buckeyes. Jack Miller standing by. He is chomping at the bit to break it down, and he'll do it next on the SeatGeek postgame show. This is Michigan football from Learfield. The Wolverines over Ohio State, 13-10. Oh, this place, it just, look at it, Jack Miller. Let's look outside here at the Horseshoe. We were here early, and the reality was, we talked about it earlier, this place was never louder than the third play of the game. Michigan completes a first down, and from there, it felt like this Ohio State fan base and ultimately these Ohio State players and coaches, they knew how important this was for so much more than just a win or a loss. And they put a lot on it. And Michigan just came in. Davis Warren said during the week, hey, we're going to play loose.
Yeah.
And Michigan did and won a game the way that they were supposed to, the way that they had to get it done.
All the pressure was on Ohio State to come out and perform on Ryan Day, on this team, the most expensive roster that college football has seen. They had to get this win to feel good about where the program's at. That's what the implications were for this game today. You said it. Michigan kind of came into it a little carefree, play loose, play relaxed, let it rip, have fun. It was obvious in that first half that Michigan was the more physical team, that they were going to play with a chip on their shoulder. They played violent, big hits, owning the line of scrimmage. That's kind of been their bread and butter MO, is to wear teams down. And I think that was scary to the Buckeye team early in the game. I think you figured out a couple things. Michigan's defense was for real today. We knew that early. The offense was going to struggle, but if they put together a drive, it was going to be really, really tough for the Buckeyes to overcome that, because it's going to be 6-7 minutes if you get points out of it. And then you were going to need Ohio State to make some errors, and they certainly did that too. And all those things came together, good enough for a Wolverine win. And I just cannot tell you how happy I am to get this down here. What it means, no Donovan Edwards in the second half. Colson Loveland doesn't play. No Will Johnson. Not playing for anything past whatever bowl game we end up this year. But for these seniors, for this program to end the regular season on a high note like this in Columbus against your arch rival, that's why you play the game. It doesn't get any better than this.
Let's talk about the offensive line. Much maligned at times this year. This is an O-line that's replacing its top 6, 7 guys from last season's team that had won 2 straight Joe Moore Awards and was very good again this past season. For them to have all of the movement, the injuries, the chaos at times, and yet for them to deliver the way that they did in this one, 4.1 yards a carry doesn't jump off the screen,
right,
but it was all hard-earned. Ohio State's got a good veteran defensive front, but they just won enough. What'd you see from that group?
They played their best game of the season without a doubt, and they didn't really have any help. It wasn't as if the Buckeye defense was on their heels in the second half going, are they going to throw the ball down the field? They're going to stretch it out. We had one misdirection play where we got the pass interference to get down there, and then we tried one, should have had a touchdown, bad throw from Davis Warren. Besides that, they knew what was coming. We were going to line up, and we were going to run off tackle. We were going to try to run up the middle and see, best on best. Let's see who wins. They were able to do that. Khalil Mullings, what a performance from him. That third down where he's tackled, he wasn't tackled, but gets stopped in the backfield, bounces around and wills his way to keep that drive going, to allow us to go get a first down, burn more clock, end up kicking the field goal that we needed to win this game. It took everybody, and that offensive line paved the way for Mullings to really find a rhythm and a groove. And to your point, it wasn't big explosive plays, but it was just enough going in the right direction, just going to eat up. It became very apparent early, and it played out throughout the course of the game. The Michigan team is tougher, is more physical, plays a brand of football that Ohio State claims to want to play a lot, and they just aren't, and they certainly haven't been the last 4 years.
I'll tell you, Ohio State had 4 drives of 55 or more yards, and they ended in field goal make, field goal miss, touchdown, and a punt from the Michigan 38-yard line. After that punt, 7 plays, 31 yards, and an interception. 4 plays, missed field goal. 3-and-out punt, and then the 4-and-out, 1 yard gained, turnover on downs to end it in the final minute. I mean, in the previous 3 years, Ohio State racked up well over 300 yards of passing.
Yeah.
They got theirs. That didn't happen. I mean, this Michigan defensive performance was the best by the Wolverines in this 4-year run now that they've beaten the Buckeyes.
It absolutely was. Wink talked a lot about the communication, how much better that's gotten in the back end, and you saw that particularly as the game went on. Those guys were on the same page. They knew where to be. But more importantly than that, again, the defensive line had a performance today. And you could just see in that last possession that Ohio State had the ball, Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Josiah Stewart, those guys just weren't going to be denied. They were playing that way the entire time. Howard took a hit early. He took a couple hits throughout the course of the game. He never got comfortable. He never felt comfortable back there. That's a big credit to that defensive line that owned the Ohio State offensive line, was able to put pressure on Howard, not allow him to ever get into a rhythm today. And for that offense to not be able to muster more than 10 points, tip your hat to the Michigan defense, Coach Wink, and that entire roster.
And special teams, can't leave them out.
Yeah.
Tommy Doman with that 68-yard punt. Dominic Zavada, obviously he made the chip shot that is the go-ahead game winner, but he needed every bit of oomph on his long field goal to give Michigan 10 points in the game. Just so much that Michigan did. They overcame that initial, whether it was sunlight or just misgauging it from Jordan Marshall on the opening kickoff. After that, Michigan special teams, for really the first time this year, sizably, significantly overcame and dominated the other group special teams.
They played great, and you need to play complementary football anytime. I mean, you're playing the number 2 team in the country, you're playing your arch rival, and you're in a very hostile environment, and you're a 20-point dog. You got to have all 3 phases of the football game going for you. Special teams showed up in a big, big way today, and that's just a gritty performance. That's just tough. Some of our best players not even playing in that. That's just a bunch of guys with a chip on their shoulder having fun playing football. Doug alluded to it earlier. They treat this rivalry down here in Columbus with almost this dark type of demeanor where it's life and death and everything hinges on it. And yeah, don't get me wrong, in Ann Arbor we feel that way too to some extent, but you sense this week, a little calm from Michigan. Just, hey, we're going to go play football. We're not afraid of these guys. A lot of these guys have never lost to Ohio State. They don't even know what that's about, what that's like, and they played like it today. They played fearless ball. They had fun. They flew around, and boy, they got it done, and it is sweet. It's going to make that drive back to Michigan a lot better, I'll tell you that.
Man, oh man. Lots to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving weekend. Jack, great perspective as always. Yeah, you might float back home.
We'll be getting back as quick as we can to celebrate with some friends up there tonight, I can tell you that.
Looking forward to it. All right, Jack, great stuff as always, my man.
Go Blue.
There's Jack Miller here on the SeatGeek postgame show. Michigan a winner, 13-10 over Ohio State. That's it for me, Brian Bush, here on this SeatGeek postgame show. Stay tuned. Rob Joyce has some of the highlights to check the out-of-town scoreboard. Obviously, a significant result in the college football playoff conversation. Now Penn State controls its destiny for a spot in the Big Ten championship game. Lots to talk about. And, of course, Jason Avant standing by in the Michigan locker room. We'll hear from players after this incredible win, 13-10 over Ohio State. This is Michigan football from Learfield.
Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. Rob Joyce with you in the network studios. What a game down in Columbus. Let's recap it with the highlights. Wolverines capping the regular season in search of a 4th straight victory against Ohio State, who came in at 10-1 overall. Wolverines with the ball first, only nab a lone first down before punting. Buckeyes opening drive, more successful. 3 plays across midfield, get a 3rd down conversion and a pass interference to put the ball in the red zone. Defense tough from there, forcing a 29-yard field goal 9 minutes in. 3-0 Buckeyes, and Michigan has a response. On 3rd and 3, Alex Orji comes in and runs for 29 yards to get inside the Buckeye 30. Kalel Mullings, a tough run down to the 12, would work the ball down to the 3, where Michigan started the second quarter, facing a 4th and 1. Offense stayed on the field, ruled short. Review confirmed it. Ohio State would take over from its own 3-yard line, still up 3-0. Certainly seemed like a missed opportunity, of course, that is, until the man who opened last week with a splash play for Michigan made up for it.
Do a little bit to get Michigan going again after that 4th down Buckeye stop inside the 5. 3rd down and 9 for Ohio State. Howard back to pass, going to deliver, and it is picked off. The Wolverines got it. It's Amir Hall inside the 10, and he's marked at the 2-yard line. He jumped the route, and Michigan will have it 1st and goal.
If Michigan had converted, it had been 1st and goal from the 2. Well, Amir Hall made it 1st and goal from the 2 with a pick in his 2nd straight game, and the Wolverines would make them pay.
Again, I formation for Michigan. Same formation. Bredesen in front of Mullings. 2nd and goal from the 1. Davis Warren, snap, handoff. Mullings running right to the goal line and in. Touchdown, Wolverines. And Michigan takes the lead here in Columbus.
Did it the circuitous way, but ultimately the short yardage would lead to a touchdown early 2nd quarter. It's 7-3 Michigan. Ensuing Ohio State drive, quarterback Will Howard blasted by Makari Page, who left the game briefly. Ohio State without him converted on 4th and 1 in its own territory before Howard returned. Buckeyes again marched into field goal range. Then it flamed out, and this time, no points. A 38-yard field goal was pushed left midway through the 2nd. It remains 7-3. Tommy Doman then flips the field as Michigan punted, pinning Ohio State at its own 7, and it proved important. After the defense forced a 3-and-out, a 30-yard punt gave the Wolverines the ball inside the 40, and that's Dominic Zavada territory. A 54-yard connection, his 7th in as many tries from 50-plus, all good. 2 minutes left in the half. It's 10-3. Good guys, but plenty of time for Ohio State. They would go on the march for the 3rd time today. A pass interference would make it 1st and goal, and no field goal attempts this time.
Snap. Howard back to pass. Fires right side wide open in the end zone as Jeremiah Smith for an Ohio State touchdown. Looks like 2 Wolverines ran into each other, and Smith didn't have anybody within 5 yards of him, and Howard found him for a touchdown. It's 10-9 Michigan with 30 seconds to go in the half.
9 plays, 75 yards. Ohio State would make it 10-10 going into halftime, and the Buckeyes got the ball to start the 3rd. And after struggling on 3rd down in the first half, it was a couple of 3rd down conversions that keyed the first drive after halftime. First to Emeka Ekbuga, then a 24-yard screen to Travion Henderson into plus territory. But then the defense buckles up, would actually force a punt from the Michigan 38. It was down at the 2, a 3-and-out for the offense. So Ohio State would get the back quickly with good field position at the Michigan 46. 4 plays, including another 3rd down conversion into the red zone. And again, the Buckeyes walk away with nothing.
Snap, back to pass is Howard. Plenty of time. Fires and it's picked off. It's picked off by Makari Page. He jumped around in front of Emeka Egbuka. And the Wolverines defense gets a stop as the senior, number 7, comes up big with his 2nd interception of the season. And he's down at the Michigan 9-yard line.
The first multi-interception game of the year from Will Howard. A huge stop from the defense would keep it deadlocked, but much like the 2nd quarter, remember Michigan's defense bailed out the offense after a red zone failure? Well, Ohio State did exactly the same thing.
Davis in a shotgun. There's 3 receivers split wide left. 1 to the right is Marlon Klein. Ohio State crowding the line of scrimmage. Back to pass is Davis. Fires, and it's intercepted by the Buckeyes. Caleb Downs in front of Tyler Morris got it at the 16-yard line as he goes to the ground, and Ohio State will take over right there.
Buckeyes get the ball right back inside the red zone. Now, when Michigan did that, the Wolverines punched it in for a touchdown. But this time, when Ohio State does it, they gain nothing yardage-wise. They get nothing points-wise.
The wind at his back. Snap is high. Ball gets down. The kick is up. And the kick is no good.
No good.
He missed it again. Wide left. And Michigan's defense escapes once again.
What an unbelievable stop by this Michigan defense.
A second miss from inside 40 yards. Late third, we're still tied at 10. Mind you, at this point, Michigan had been without a first down since the first quarter. They'd get one late in the frame, and it would start a long, long drive. It turns out, after that field goal miss, Ohio State would run 7 more plays in the entire game. We would head to the fourth, tied at 10. Starts with a third down Wolverine conversion to Marlon Klein for 6. Then another to Peyton O'Leary for 18 down to the Ohio State 37. Davis Warren rushes for 11 yards first down. Pass interference on a reverse pass from Kendrick Bell would put the ball in the red zone. Khalil Mullings, 3 runs for a first down inside the 5. A 14-play, 77-yard drive took over 9 minutes, and it ended in disaster.
I formation, Davis Warren under center. Takes the snap. He's going to throw. Looking to the end zone, delivers, and it's intercepted at the goal line. Ohio State picks it off at the goal line. It's Jack Sawyer, the defensive end, dropping into coverage.
The teams today combined for 9 red zone trips, 5 of which were scoreless. Ohio State takes over midway through the fourth, tied at 10. Would go 3 and out quickly, so Michigan would get it back. 6 minutes left from its own 40. Mullings runs for 1 first down. Then on 3rd down, looked like he was going to get stuffed in the backfield. Looked like.
3rd and 6 for Michigan. 2 receivers split to either side with the ball on the right hash. Kalel Mullings in the backfield. Davis takes the snap, handoff to Kalel, and he's piled up at the line of scrimmage. Breaks a tackle. 40, 25. Kalel Mullings outside the numbers at the 20, and he's knocked out of bounds at the Ohio State 15-yard line. Wow, what a run.
A 27-yard burst to go over 100 yards for the day. 2-minute timeout. It's 2nd and 7 from the Ohio State 14. Mullings drives inside the 10, sets up 3rd and 2, and the Buckeyes give a gift. An illegal substitution out of a timeout would give Michigan a 1st and goal, 1:55 left. 1st down, Mullings backwards a yard to the 6. Timeout Buckeyes. 2nd down, Mullings, a gain to the 4. Final timeout Ohio State. 3rd down, Mullings to the 3. Clock runs. Bit of confusion, and there were 10 more seconds run off than Ohio State would have wanted because someone took their helmet off the field. Little confusing, benefited Michigan, would bring on Dominic Zavada with under a minute to go.
The snapper will be William Wagner. He was not here 2 years ago. He got hurt. He mentioned last night this is his first trip to Columbus. The holder is Tommy Doman. And Dominic Zavada, the ball is in the middle of the field. This is essentially an extra point to take the lead with 48 seconds to go. Wagner will snap it. Doman will hold it. Snap is good. Hold is down. The kick is up, and the kick is good.
Yes!
And Michigan has taken a 13-10 lead with 45 seconds to go in the ball game.
An 11-play, 57-yard drive ate up 5.5 minutes. So in the final 2 minutes of the third, all the way through that Zavada field goal, Michigan ran 26 plays that took 14 minutes and 38 seconds off the clock. In that span, Ohio State ran 3 plays. 13-10 Michigan, 45 seconds. Buckeyes from the 25, no timeouts. Incompletion 1st down. Travion Henderson, a 1-yard catch on 2nd down out of bounds. Incomplete on 3rd down. It sets up 4th and 9. Today's call of the game, the call of the season, brought to you by the leaders and best at Michigan Medicine.
4th down and 9 for Ohio State. 28 seconds to go. Can Michigan get the stop and the win? Back to pass is Howard. Here comes the pass rush. Howard steps up. He delivers it.
Yeah!
Yeah! And the Wolverines have stunned the college football world. Michigan will get the football back with 23 seconds to go. At a 13-10 lead here in Columbus.
Today's call of the game brought to you by Michigan Medicine. There's a difference between an answer and a Michigan answer. To find your Michigan answer, visit MichiganAnswers.com. Wolverines get the stop. Ohio State should go to MichiganAnswers.com. They don't have any. Wolverines get the win. Make it 4 in a row for the Maize and Blue over the Scarlet and Gray. None more stunning than today's 13-10 victory. Plenty still to come on the SeatGeek postgame show. Reaction for the Maize and Blue locker room. We're going to trickle down into a victorious, a jubilant locker room. We'll hear from Jason Devant with a couple of players. Scores and more as you listen to Michigan football from Learfield. 4 straight over Ohio State. Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. Let's sit down to the locker room for the first time. Davis Warren standing by with Jason.
Huge game, bright lights, plays to be made. Talk about what you're feeling after a great win like that.
Just, so happy, so proud of this group, happy for all these guys. Man, they deserve it, tenfold. Been through a lot this year as a unit. And just proud of this group and the work that was put in to win this football game. And, we knew what it was going to take. It was going to be a 4-quarter battle. It was going to be up and down game. And we just, found a way. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing in games like this. And it's just really special feeling.
Talk about the offensive line and Kalel Mullings, 30-plus rushes, 119 yards, not a bunch of yards, but him just being, a rock, Donovan going down.
Man, just so proud of him. Once Dono got hurt, we talked about in the locker room at halftime, man, we got to do this for 7 and find a way to push on without him. And, man, Kalel did an unbelievable job. And it starts with the big boys up front and the tight ends. Bredesen, Marlin, those guys did an unbelievable job. And so proud of those guys. And they're the tone setters of the team. And they showed that. And you know, we do beat Ohio, you know, every day during camp. We do that, you know, inside run. You know, we know what it's about. So it's just a great feeling, and so proud of that group.
The defense stepped up, held them, you know, 10 points most of the game, and just made plays. How inspiring is that group?
And they're an unbelievable group. You know, being down Will, and other guys stepping up, Amir, Wes Walker, Zeke, and then the Rocks in there, and KG and Meso and Jay Stu and D Moore and that Ern, and I mean, they all played a great game. They all made plays. You could tell that quarterback was routed a little bit, and they fought, they battled, found a way, and proud of those guys. And they just gave us confidence as an offense that we were going to find a way, and they picked us up when we needed it. And then when we needed to get a score at the end, we made it happen. So just proud of that group, and true team effort.
On a play, the interception to Hogan, he was wide open. You knew you had him. Was it a case in that situation of just like, I just need to get him the ball and not being aware of the line?
Yeah, credit to, at the end, I felt like he made a good play. But at the end of the day, it's all me. The defense, like I said, bailed us out there. I got to just, sense that and put that ball further out there for him, to give him a chance to catch it. And didn't really feel like that DN was going to feather off and make that play. I thought it was wide open, and ended up not being the case. But it was a great play call by Coach Campbell. I should have made him right, wasn't able to, and that falls on me. So, but I'm just proud of the way we were able to end up getting the win, and when we responded and started with the defense and then going to the O-line, it was and Khalil, and then Zavada with the winner. It's a great feeling. Take me inside the huddle late in that game when it's all on the line. Like, what are you telling the line? Because you're barking at the line most of the day because of the noise. Like, what are you telling the line when you guys get the ball back, and he breaks a 27-yard run, and you guys can... Man, I told them this is what you do. This is what you work for, this opportunity. And I sensed in them a sense of confidence that they were going to be able to make it happen, and they did. And telling them that, man, all that work you put in, don't leave anything in the tank. A moment of pain is worth more than a lifetime of regret. And this is one of those games where, man, you can't leave anything in there. You got to go battle. And we found a way, and just proud of these guys and this group, and just love all those boys. Congrats on beating Ohio as the starting quarterback at the University of Michigan. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Davis Warren, 9 of 16 passing, 62 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 rush for 11 yards. Who cares? He's 1-0 as a starting quarterback against Ohio State. 13-10 the final. More postgame next. This is Wolverine football from Learfield. 13-10 Wolverines the final. Just heard from Davis Warren. Let's stay on the offensive side of the football. The star from this afternoon's win, 32 carries, 116 yards, the lone offensive touchdown, and the man who had the 27-yard run on third down when he was hit in the backfield that ultimately would help set up a game-winning field goal. Khalil Mullings, our next guest downstairs with Jason.
Khalil, I don't know how to describe this win. Do you have any words to describe it?
I don't. It's just a culmination of all the work, the preparation that we've been putting in, man, through the ups and the downs, staying together, staying close as a family, as a team, through the coaches, through the players, through the staff, everyone in the building, just coming together and pulling this one out. That's a hard-nosed, just gritty football game, and it was good, man. It was so much fun.
You toted the ball 30-plus times today, and it was all hard yards. How does your body feel?
I'm a little banged up, but now I got time to recover. I told CB, I told him, I'm going to go. Even if they got to drag me off the field at the end of the game, I'm going to go. So, I just wanted to leave it all out there. Last time in the shoe, last time playing Ohio State, it's a beautiful rivalry to have been a part of, and it's a beautiful rivalry to be 4-0. And yeah.
Did you hear what you just said?
4-0.
A Michigan team 4-0. That's 4-0.
Come on now, 4-0. We do that, and we're going to continue to do it. No matter what's happening, no matter what's going on, some things don't change.
Donovan leaves the game injured. Did you change your mindset when that happened? It seemed like you stepped it up.
Definitely. I knew I had to go out there and play for him. This is both our last times playing Ohio State, playing here. last regular season game, and I know how bad he wanted to be out there with us. So I knew I had to go do everything I could. I had to leave everything I could, and if I could walk, I could run, I'll be out there because 7 couldn't be. And that's my brother. I love him, and I'm just so happy that we were able to pull out this win.
Last question I have for you is defense showed up. Talk about the defense in their play.
Oh my goodness! Throughout my 5 years here, this defense has time and time again just surprised me and shocked me and done amazing things. But talk about complimentary football. Talk about helping each other out. Even when we fold, even when we fumble, the defense was always there to have our back. And in the end, we were able to have theirs as well. Just so proud of all those guys through each trial and tribulation, each test that they had. They were able to get stops and create plays. So shout out to that defense, man. One of the best in the country, shoot.
Go and celebrate. Go Blue.
Appreciate it, man.
And that's Kalel Mullings, who, if you missed it, was our guest on Monday's Inside Michigan Football radio show. And he made a point that when he was growing up, it was always Ohio State beating Michigan. He grew up watching guys like Ezekiel Elliott do their thing. Well, he said, how cool would it be now that kids now will look at this game and see Michigan winning every year? As Mullings, one of the seniors, 4-0 in his career against the Buckeyes. SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the touchdown celebrations this season. Whether you're buying or selling football tickets, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of the Michigan Wolverines. Expect the expected. SeatGeek. Time for a final check of the out-of-town scoreboard. Bunch of games in the Big Ten going on. We'll start in State College, where all of a sudden Penn State is in the driver's seat to make it to the Big Ten championship game. With Michigan's win, Penn State needs a win over Maryland to punch its ticket to Indy. 10.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. They are reviewing what would be right now a Penn State touchdown to go up 16-7 on the Terps. Looks like this might be ruled down at the half-yard line. Regardless, it'd be 10-7, and it'll be second and goal from about, the half-yard line for the Nittany Lions. Other games, USC and Notre Dame tied at 7, 6:30 to halftime in L.A., though the Irish are inside the red zone. And then Rutgers leads at Michigan State 17-7, 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Spartans need to come back in order to extend their season. They are 5-6 on the year. And then UCLA trailing at home to Fresno State in its season finale. 7-6 is the Bulldog lead midway through the second at the Rose Bowl. 2 games still to come. Number 10 Indiana needs to beat 1-10 Purdue and have Maryland beat Penn State, and then the Hoosiers would go to the Big Ten championship game. By the way, Penn State was ruled down a half-yard short, and then on second and goal, Drew Aller just took it himself for a 1-yard score. So now it is 16-7. So with Ohio State losing today, remember, Buckeyes only needed to win to face Oregon next week. They lost. Penn State now only needs to beat Maryland. They're in. If they were to drop this 10-point deficit and lose, then Indiana would be in the driver's seat to make it to next week. All to play Oregon. Ducks wrap up the regular season at 7:30 tonight. Take on rival Washington, to whom they have lost 3 consecutive years. One other game is the final. Number 23, Illinois, pulls away in the second half from Northwestern, 38-28. Nationally, a lot going on right now, mainly in the ACC, where it looks like there's a collision course to Charlotte. Number 6, Miami leads at Syracuse 21-7. If the Canes win, they will go to the ACC championship game. That one's early in the second quarter. Also early second, SMU has a 21-0 lead on Cal. If the Mustangs win, we'll go to Charlotte. So SMU and Miami firmly in place to go to the ACC championship game next week. Alabama an early 7-0 lead in the Iron Bowl, early second. Arizona State with a win goes to the Big 12 championship game. All over rival Arizona. It's 21-0 mid-second, and the Sun Devils have it in the red zone looking for more. One other game going on, Missouri and Arkansas, all square at 7. Finals, number 8, Tennessee dug out of an early hole to pull away from Vandy, 36-23. So the Vols are 10-2, and they will not go to the SEC title game. So their resume is complete. Number 15, South Carolina, a late touchdown, improves to 9-3, knocking off 12th-ranked Clemson, 17-14. The Tigers, also 9-3, and likely not going to the ACC championship game. Would need one of Miami or SMU to lose, both with multi-score leads. The big game still to come is at 7:30. Third-ranked Texas at 20th-ranked Texas A&M, the first meeting between two bitter rivals since 2011. The winner will go to the SEC championship game next week to take on Georgia. The loser's playoff resume would be complete. Texas is 10-1 on the year, but a light 10 wins. Michigan might be their best win. Texas A&M with a loss would be 8-4. The final in our game, Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. More locker room reaction coming next. This is Wolverine football from Learfield. Michigan 13, Ohio State 10. Let's head to the defensive side of the football. Makari Page had a monster interception with Ohio State having the ball inside the red zone in the second half. Let's head downstairs Jason standing by with Makari Page.
Makari, big win here at Ohio State. How does it feel?
Feeling great, man. Blessed to be here, blessed to be in this position right here. Go out with a bang like that, in the season with a bang like that, it's phenomenal.
What was talked about all week? No one gave you guys a chance, but yet this team still believed.
We just know who we are as a team. We know ourselves. Appreciate you. Thanks. We know ourselves as a team. We know how big this game is. We saying all week that the records don't matter this game. So we go out there and play our hardest and come out with a dub.
You seem like to be in the zone coverage on your interception. Can you explain that play to the fans?
Yeah, basically, I was actually in man. He went out, but he did an out route. Then once he saw I had my leverage outside, tried to come back in. So then I saw the quarterback throw the ball, just jumped it.
Now, after the game was over, a bunch of off-the-field antics, how do you guys keep your composure in that moment?
We got to do a better job, not trying to feed into that. They mad they lost the game. We got to do a better job of just, sticking to what we do. And we come out, lead the field with class, and you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, definitely do a better job of that.
There was a lot of seniors playing their last game. What do you say to the seniors and how they went out against Ohio State?
I feel like it's no better way to go out, beating Ohio State. So, love them boys. I got a lot of love for them boys, so that's all I got.
Again, that's Makari Page, 13-10, the final here this afternoon over Ohio State. Page, big factor in it with that goal line interception. Take two more timeouts. Postgame show will continue. The SeatGeek postgame show will continue after this. Wolverines win by 3. This is Michigan football from Learfield. 13-10, the final today down in Columbus in favor of the Maize and Blue for a 4th straight year. Down to the locker room one final time we go. One of the big men, Miles Hinton, our final guest with Jason.
Miles, you are now 2-0 versus Ohio State. How does that feel?
It was amazing. It was amazing. Honestly, no words. Man. It just feels amazing. This year, too, especially having a bigger role in the game, it means a lot. It means a lot, It means a lot.
How were you guys able to get the run game going, Khalil going over 100 yards and 33 rushes? You guys had a focus on the offensive line.
Yeah, it was just the mentality, go in the game and just make sure the person against you is hurting, And we did that. We went out there and executed like we know we can. And it was nothing special. It was just us being us. Coach Newsom said it all week. Just go out there and be you guys, And that's what we did. And we went out there confident. We went out there knowing what we could accomplish, and we went out there and did it.
Talk about the defensive line. You guys go against them every day in practice, so you know what type of work they can put in, and they showed it today.
They are good. Strong, stout in the middle, speed out in the edges, stout on the edge. It's just an all-around. We joke with the other linemen, if we had to scheme our D-line, we'd be not happy, like dog, but they were there and balled out, and I'm proud of all the boys on the team, man. It's a great team win.
Here's Ohio State after the game with all the antics. How do you guys keep your composure in those moments?
For me, it's not that hard. It's just don't be on the BS. Just like someone starts fighting, like, all right, but you got it. It's just stick and pose. Like, we won the game, like win with class, and keep pushing. Because all they can do after the game is try to fight us. The game's already lost. So do what you want to do, but you lost the game. So whatever.
Congratulations on a great win.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
There's Miles Hinton. Great work by Jason, as always, down in the locker room. Not only today, but all season long. And nothing more jubilant, at least this year, than today's 13-10 win over Ohio State. We'll take our final timeout, wrap things up, get you set for the postseason next. This is Michigan football from Learfield. Welcome back one final time. If you're looking for more college football action following the broadcast, hey, why not? It's been a great day thus far. Check out the College Football Blitz for free going to the Varsity Network app. It's the college football audio version of the NFL Red Zone channel. Tonight's the final game, or the episode of the year, from noon till midnight. Just search College Football Blitz on the Varsity Network app. So the Wolverines closed the regular season 7-5 after a 13-10 victory in Columbus against previously number 2 Ohio State. Now we await a bowl bid. The playoff bracket will be revealed next Sunday at noon. As the afternoon of December 8th goes along, we'll start to hear about the rest of the bowl game participants and find out where Michigan will head for the postseason. Check out mgoblue.com for all the information when that time comes. In the meantime, join us Monday for what will now be the regular time slot for Inside Michigan basketball from 7 to 8. Brian and Terry Mills will talk all things men's and women's hoops. Then on Tuesday, Dusty May and the men, the Big Ten opener, believe it or not. Michigan, fresh off a Fort Myers tip-off championship, heads to Wisconsin for a 9 o'clock tip on Tuesday. Brian and Terry are on the air with the pregame show starting at 8:30. Again, our final this afternoon from Columbus. Michigan, for the 4th year in a row, defeats Ohio State by a final of 13-10. Thanks to our producer and engineer, Tony Butler. Now for Doug Karsh, John Jansen, Jason Avant, Brian Bush, Jack Miller, and our entire crew, this is Rob Joyce saying so long. Thank you for tuning in all season long. We'll talk to you Tuesday on the Hardwood from Madison.